Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Turning Grief into Growth. I'm Jen Santiago. And today I'm going to share a little quiet corner of my home with you because this is a space that I have created, a ritual that helps me feel closer to the ones that I lost. And I think it might be able to help you too if you're dealing with grief and want to feel more connected to someone you've lost. So stick around, that's coming right up. I've noticed when I've traveled around the world that some countries seem to have a culture that fosters connection between the living and the dead in a very different way than ours does. So, for example, I've traveled to India multiple times. I was there for a wedding 2 Thanksgivings ago. One of my friends that I worked with overseas got married. Oh, it was a fabulous wedding. And then before that, I was in Goa, India, and there I was at Kranti Yoga Studio doing my yoga teacher training. The beach there was absolutely beautiful. But the very first time that I went to India was like total tourism, right? The Taj Mahal and the Ganges River. But I spent a lot of time that time in homes. And what I noticed is that a lot of people, Hindus specifically, will have altars in their homes to the various gods, like Ganesh, one that's really popular. And next to those altars, they'll also have framed photos of a family member that passed away with a garland or some sort of decor or candle next to it. Now, you may not be familiar with Hindu rituals, but you probably are familiar with Dia de los Muertos, which is super popularized in the United States. I actually have to say that I may have dressed up for Halloween in a Dia de los Muertos costume. Okay. But the point is that in Mexican culture, there's this very deep connection between the other world and this world, and a very deep connection with ancestors. So I noticed that, and I should probably backtrack for a second if you haven't seen this channel before. So I lost my fiance 10 years ago. But 1 month after losing my fiance, Phil, I lost my father. And because of the back to back losses, I've always felt like I didn't really have a chance to really mourn my father's passing, really come to terms with him being gone. And as time went by, I started to notice that I was really missing that father figure and feeling a lot of guilt that I never really gave my father the honor of mourning him because I was so wrapped up in losing Felipe. So here's what I did. I created a space in my home. So let me show you what this looks like. And okay, this is nothing fancy. As a matter of fact, this is my second guest bedroom. So this was such an afterthought as I was decorating because I really didn't want to spend any money on furniture because I'd already spent money on furniture. So this is all old stuff from years of basically putting a home together and dumped into this room, which includes this very like not so sophisticated leaning shelf that I probably got at Pier 1, but I needed a place to put my father's flag. So this is the flag that I received at his funeral, and he served. He was a veteran. Here he is, right there, Phil. Can you believe that? My fiance was Phil, and my dad was Phil. And so I framed this photo of my dad in his service uniform looking so handsome. I mean, I do not even recognize this man because the man that I recognize is this dad, the old dad. That's my brother. He doesn't want to be seen, but that's old dad. And I found myself in times where I needed to have conversations because I was missing this father figure coming here and talking to dad. So often I would then start to ritualize it. Like I would light a candle, and that would be sort of the threshold, right? I light the candle, I enter the threshold of this space, this sacred space between me and my dad that like joins our two worlds so that I can invite him in and talk to him. And I know this is starting to sound like a little creepy seancey. That's not what this is at all. This is me recognizing that dad is not here with me anymore, but that I'm trying to connect to him in a way that I never could before, and starting that process by lighting the candle and sitting down in front of his picture and just talking to him. And I remember the last time I did that, it was to ask for guidance. Actually, it was more to just like complain about a situation in life where I was concerned about what my next step should be. And, when you miss having that person in your life who was always great at giving very neutral advice, and that's who my dad was. Like, he was very logical, and I love that about him. And I think I inherited more of dad's logical brain than mom's emotional brain, thank God. But yeah, I mean, I missed that. So this was an attempt for me to have that conversation with him, granted, very one-way conversation with him. And at the end of it, and it could last as short as 2 minutes or as long as 20, at the end of it, I always felt better. Like, okay, dad never really gave me advice. All right. But I just felt better that I had that moment with him, that I was able to connect with him. The point is that if you're missing someone and if you feel like you didn't have a chance to properly mourn them, or if you're missing a connection to someone who maybe was like that grounding figure in your life, then maybe this could help. Maybe just setting up some photos on maybe a nicer piece of furniture than this in a quiet corner in your house that you can return to on a regular basis when needed. Like, that is such a powerful tool to help us live with our grief and our loss. We're creating a space where we're honoring who we lost, as opposed to, and I've seen this done way too often, pretending that they're gone and life moves on and that's it. Like, you don't have to do that. And I know, because I've heard from friends, colleagues, and people that I have coached, that sometimes they'll do something like this, and well-intentioned friends or family might say, hey, like, isn't it time to let go? Is this a little bit too much? And I'm here to tell you, no, like, don't listen to that. You never have to let go of the person that you lost. You never have to let go of them. You have to learn to live differently with that loss, but you never have to let go. It doesn't mean that you are not moving on in some way, shape, or form, but there really is no moving on after a tragic loss or after losing someone that meant so much for you. There's just learning to live with. All right, so this is just a short and sweet video about how I have created the sacred space in my home to feel closer to my father. And Sacred Spaces is actually the name that I've given to my grief circles. There's one coming up. It is coming up this September for the autumnal equinox. Once again, we are returning to Blue Hydrangea Farm in Lovettsville, Virginia. So if you'd like to join us, there are tickets that I will put in the comments, links to tickets, that is. So if you're in Northern Virginia, hope to join you there. And if you're not in Northern Virginia and you're looking for some grief coaching, you're looking to connect with someone who can help you along your journey, then feel free to connect with me, turninggriefintogrowth.com. And I do offer virtual sessions. And also, please subscribe and like my channel. And I hope to see you again here soon on Turning Grief into Growth. Take care.